Joining us now, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Sir, it's a pleasure having you on as well tonight, too. Thanks for spending time with us. Okay, we've got this story out of Fox Digital that GOP Senators Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, they sent a letter to Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas warning him that he's on notice for possible impeachment over Biden's border collapse. I mean, the size of Kansas's crossing, including the gotaways. But what crimes and misdemeanors are involved here? There have to be impeachable offenses. What are they?
Well, look, he's allowing all of this criminal activity to occur. He's aiding and abetting the cartels. He's encouraging them to come. They're transporting drugs. They're transporting, potentially allowing terrorists to come across the border. I mean, he has an obligation to defend this country and uphold the Constitution. I'm extremely concerned about what is happening over the last 2 years with all of these people crossing the border, and they're basically being invited in by this administration.
So which laws is he breaking, and which laws are the White House breaking?
Well, he has an obligation to defend the country, to protect the people of this country. So whether he violates a criminal law or some other civil statute, his responsibility is to the American people. So I'll leave it up to the senators to look into the details as to what particular law he's violated, but I do think he's clearly not doing his job as head of Homeland Security.
I mean, you see it on the front lines down there in Texas. The senators cite gross dereliction of duty at the border. They charge Mayorkas with enabling a drug production and smuggling enterprise by Mexican cartels working with China supplying the drug ingredients that have contributed to the manufacture of fentanyl. I mean, 108 Americans killed last year, 2/3 of that from fentanyl. Let's listen to Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz admit in a Florida lawsuit deposition that the crisis is the worst in decades. Watch this.
Since President Biden was elected, does this document indicate that aliens illegally entering the United States perceive that they will be able to enter and remain in the United States?
Yes.
Is the crisis that is currently ongoing at the southern border making the border less safe for Americans and aliens alike?
Yes.
So if migrant populations believe that there are not going to be consequences, more of them will come to the border. Is that what you're saying?
There's an assumption that if migrant populations are told that there's a potential that they may be released, that yes, you can see increases.
So it will increase at an exponential rate? Is that what is being suggested here?
Well, I do think it will increase, yeah.
Well, that's already happening, right? So do you think the senators will follow through and try to impeach Mayorkas?
Look, I certainly hope so. This is a disaster, and it's a planned disaster. It's not like any of this is an accident. They started on day one when they said, we're not going to deport you, and they've basically put away every possible tool to stop these people from coming illegally, from stopping the building of the wall, from trying to stop Title 42 from being used, from eliminating Remain in Mexico. I mean, everything that worked, they've switched around. So I have to say, they've done this on purpose. They've created the crisis on purpose. To me, that is dereliction of duty, and they are purposely harming the country.
I mean, the senators wrote that just last month, nearly 2,900 pounds of fentanyl was seized at the border. That's enough to kill 500 million people. It's enough to kill every American, more than enough. So that's what's happening, too.
Yeah, and that may be the worst thing of all. I mean, we have so many kids that are dying because of this, kids that I've known, families that never expected this to occur. But because the Biden administration has opened up the border, it's made it a lot easier for the cartels to transport fentanyl and other drugs.
Okay.
And the Biden administration knew this was a consequence of what they were doing, and yet they've continued to promote these policies.
Ken Paxton, thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.